things. These are simple labor, small pieces type of things that are ultimately, if there's not, so supply is one of the most dwindling things, not just funds, it's
So on
supply.
that note, I'd like to bridge you to the topic of what does a supply chain look like? How does it work
You're an expert there in many ways.
from the beginning to the end? And give us an insight about that.
The beginning is you need the information what they need, and then you got start asking around to special organizations who have medical supplies or hospitals. You start asking around from, hey,
Village leaders, all this. Yeah.
do you have stuff? Can we get it? And you start building a network, and it's a big one now. And I'm glad that it's a big one because we're still growing. And then you get it in, and you sort it a little bit out. And
Well, then so
Yeah.
you find out who needs it, but then your
Yeah.
next step is to
that's the first step that I do.
The next step is
Yeah.
contacting and trying to gather it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that one's from like for me when I see you do what you do. That one's, I mean, obviously it's most important to know what's needed,
Yeah.
but one of your real talent areas is
Yeah.
being able to know who to contact, how to get it.
Yeah, find people.
Yeah.
Find people
And
that
help them
can help
understand.
me.
Yeah.
And that can lead me to the right direction or give me the stuff.
Yeah.
And
You're an expert at it.
and-
you help people see the reality very
Yeah.
well. I have a hard time with that. Like, I can motivate people or whatever just by what I'm doing, but yeah, I can't believe the amount you've been able to get and help come in.
yeah, and that's also always a challenge. And sometimes we were thinking, oh, the warehouse is completely empty. And over 2 weeks we have a new trip with 3 fans. I need some adult diapers and some medical stuff. And then in 1 week, the complete warehouse was full again, and we had stuff left for the next trip.
I've seen it with my own eyes. That
Yeah.
I was there a week before, and
Yeah.
you were like, "Oh, yeah, we're almost empty." And then next week, like you
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're stuffed again."
And then I see miracles are still happening because every time it's happening, every time we say we have to get more medical stuff, we get a phone call from that organization or from that hospital, and we can pick up their stuff. And
It's my favorite phone call from him is, my warehouse is full, you got to come get it.
Yeah,
Yes, good.
But what I also think is, I know you for about a year now.
Yeah.
And I think it genuinely is also your enthusiasm. I mean, every time we have a call and you're telling me about all the stuff you managed to get and about the contacts you managed to make.
And new contacts, especially. I'm happy also with my old contacts and with my new contacts. I love it.
I will point out, there is one. So with getting the supply, because there's the rest of the supply chain is important, but there is one part that in the information gathering part, that's where I come in useful too, because I have a lot of high level, or not just high level. I have many contacts that are doing the work. So, like, I know you specialize in. I think, I mean, from my perspective anyway, from like you have broad networks that are doing the same thing, and you're trying to help them do it better and with supply things, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like there's a network of most of them are doing the same thing here, and most of them are doing the same thing here, like that, right? Mostly. I mean, you have a lot that I don't know too, so that's why I'm asking. Yeah, I don't know. So, like,
I
mine
don't
are
give
more.
you all the information.
Yeah, that's one thing. We're both very good about that.
It's
We keep our
classified.
networks. We keep our networks very separate. We
Yeah.
try to, because like I can't even give you examples.
I have
inside,
my
but
own
yeah, we have-
projects also, and
Yeah.
you have your own projects.
Yeah,
and
we definitely have our own stuff.
Yeah.
So, but
You're like a Venn diagram.
yes, very much. And only we have multiple instead of just like one crossing area, like most Venn diagrams, we have many that cross over. And he's kind of pulled me into some of his, and I can't think. I might have pulled you into some of mine for supply. Yeah, for specific supply. But I don't know about
for the
pulled
ambulance.
you in. I don't know. but-
Ambulance.
Oh yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. And nets and stuff. We
the
definitely
truck you
so
talked
we have
about?
multiple.
Yeah.
Well, that ended up crossing over.
No.
That's kind of a
I-
vertical
I-
though.
I
We're
give
building
him-
kind of a vertical because we'd already talked about having we talked about having the 2 charities. I have to have 3, and so the 2 that we're involved in together with each other's. that's kind of in that vertical that I was talking
Yeah.
about. That's where the truck comes in. It's not really the overlap as much as we have we have built out networks that really, that's a good term for the Venn diagram. We just have many crossover areas because you'd have to have the different networks all like this in different Venn diagrams. You'd have to have
Yeah.
many Venn diagrams to really, or make
Yeah,
it 3D.
because sometimes we had it a few times that you were full,
Uh-huh.
and
Right now, looking
And-
for the truck. My warehouse is full.
yeah,
I'm full.
and I had stuff, and my warehouse was piling out. So I talked to him. I said, "Hey, I have too many stuff. You cannot handle it. I want to give it to another group because I know they need it, and they are going in next week." And we talked about it, and we didn't like it,
Yeah.
but
I know another NGO that's not going to like it now that you've said it. But it's normal. It
Yeah,
happens.
it's also the same thing. Like
Yeah.
whenever we did the trip, I think it was both trips. I went to Lviv actually,
Yeah.
where I was driving for another organization
Yeah.
officially,
Yeah.
but I was also taking some goods from Otto
Yeah.
that had
Yeah.
to go somewhere.
But
That's
it-
how things work there. It
but
has to.
you have to let it go.
Mhm.
That you have to work always with the same person,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when I send in stuff, it's most of the time medically. So people are depending on it. They need it
Yep.
for a good quality of life. And
Yeah, I can't be the
and-
reason it doesn't go
No.
in for 2 weeks or
There's
So
no
something.
place for
there,
ego
there's
in
no
Not at all.
egos.
No.
Not allowed here.
The
What I-
stuff that's in my warehouse right now is not gonna save lives. It's more about like extra like warm clothing or things like this where yes it's important, but it's not life or death for the people I'm taking it to. And I work with that chain so they have a full understanding. If I have, just because I don't have a truck, it doesn't mean I haven't made runs in. I've traded favors with people, so I've had other people's vehicles and people, and I've gone in with them. So I mean, it still gets done,
Yeah.
but it's not moving as fast because I have to reprioritize what I'm doing. So there is more complexity to it. We even it out. We know how to do our jobs. But yeah, there is no room for ego for either one of us. He absolutely makes the right calls. I don't know if a wrong call you made. Maybe I wouldn't.
What I
I think
find
you can do.
fascinating about this, but what you're describing all is like it's like a really tight, networky, organic kind of organization without any sort of hierarchy or some sort. It's like
No.
sort of grassroots,
We
sort of like
respect
coming
each other's-
from within what people want to
Everybody's.
do.
I see
But it's-
everybody's
it's-
breathing
yeah, but
air.
It's
and we're
crossing
all the
borders.
same.
It's crossing nationalities. It's
Yeah.
crossing cultures.
I
That's
trust
amazing.
I've seen and I trust he is a subject matter expert in
Yeah.
many areas.
You call
So-
it the word trust. That's very important.
Yeah, and so I trust that when he has a plan or information or makes a decision about in those areas that he's a subject matter expert, that's the way it needs to be. Because I, even if it's a guess, even there's no 100% things because things shift too fast. Also,
Yeah.
so all of our jobs are to try to make the best guess of what to do and when and how that we can to have the highest percentage chance of
Yeah,
success.
and what we also do is we accept he has a lot of knowledge about other things, and I do also my own things. And when we work together with my specialty, and he's saying, "Yeah, but I want it this way. I already tried. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Go on." But it's both ways.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and-
Well, like for example, no, that's not a good example. But like one of the things that I can do, I'll put it that way, because it's not really a check of his judgment or what he's doing or something going wrong. So I don't want to have it in that context. It could be taken that way. What another thing that I do that I am a subject matter expert in at this point is because of the type of contacts I've got and because of how I operate. I can talk to people in the military at many different levels with trust and access if I need to. I have many locations I can access that are very different types. I have people in different towns. I have volunteers, government contacts, etc. And I mean people that have already demonstrated or I've built, like I trust them. Some of them I have to trust with my life. If I was wrong, I'd already know it by now. So with this gives me a very interesting view and context and understanding of what a lot of areas of how things work in reality, not the media, not what somebody, not the rumor mills. There's a lot of rumors, even, and so part of what I can do is if Otto's saying something about over here or something, and it doesn't match up with what I've heard or what I understand, then I'm about to learn something, or he is, right?
Yeah.
Because I will literally, if I have any way to logistically do something, if he gives me like, oh, I think this person over here, and they sound right and whatever, and so I give him a little bit to see. It's like, if anything sounds fishy about that, I'll go. I'll just show up. I'll be like, hey, I'm this and whatever. If you want to vet me, let's open up my phone. I'll put you on the phone with whatever you want. But what's going on here? And it's not quite that simple or aggressive or something, but I will get access and I will verify however I need to a certainty, kind of what's going on or who can be kind of trusted or what's going on. And I will do that either with Otto or if it makes sense or whatever, so that we both have good information.
Yeah,
and
we
if
did it now twice with
I don't want to say with what, maybe
no,
that
with
might not
with
be good, but
no, with some people, and
Yeah.
and we tested them.
Yeah.
And we
sometimes
saw
it turns out good. Sometimes
yeah.
it's not a good fit for us to work with
No.
them, but good on them.
It's a bit of a sort of an experiment, basically.
no, just
Oh, no, I'm
testing the
Just
reliability
waters.
Yeah, well,
and the
kind of, yeah.
responsibility that you gave the
Kind of.
person
You're
with
taking it into practice, and instead of
Yes,
just
to see if you
going
can scale it or not.
from words, you're
Yeah.
going from deeds,
Yeah.
actions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's where you see what people really are like, and you give them. I actually like it that way
Yeah.
because if Otto does that and they have a little freedom to operate without knowing that somebody may just show up or verify from outside without them even knowing, that's when they're going to do the reality of whatever they're going to do.
Basically, what you're saying is
We get to the truth quick.
you're testing if people are made of the same material as you guys are.
If we have the same goals.
Considering the self-motivated part and
yeah.
Well, if we have
Yeah.
the same goals,
Yeah,
because
and
maybe they
the
see that they
same
need
drive.
supply for
Yeah.
something, and there's a bigger need over here. Maybe that's true, and all their decisions are very motivated by good things. But it's not what they said they were going to do with it because they didn't think anybody give it to them. If that was the case, so let's put it that way, where we can steelman the argument that nobody is really at fault here of some negative intent. But
Right.
if there's not good communication of I need this to be done with this, and then trust that that's what's going to be done, or they will tell you so you can both make a decision. Maybe you have enough you can do both things they want to do. But if they don't tell you that, or if whatever, then maybe they just need to be moved out of the way, and it needs to be more direct to the good thing that gets done, and then we all win. They get what they want, it gets done better, but there's trust, etc. Just as an example, this can change any day, but I have not had a single item once I've had possession of it stolen or bribed or whatever, and I've had force tried, I've had all kinds of stuff that just happens. In the beginning of the war, it was a little more chaotic, right? Ukraine has put a lot of effort into removing a lot of those problems, not just to join the EU, but they needed a more stable country really quickly, even for like internal logistics and just to kind of not have to worry about the societal problems that can come from too much pressure of, too much like corruption or things like that, right? They've really worked hard, and I've
Also
seen
outside
massive
picture,
effect.
yeah.
I've seen massive effect. So I that's one thing I know how to do. I'd like to think I know how to read people pretty well and make relationships and judge that face to face in my networks. But I've been able, whatever, even if I've just stumbled all the way through, I haven't lost anything. I haven't given anything up, not to a border guard, not to police, not to anybody. And now you don't have to worry about it as much. It's pretty even kill. But there's still crime you have to be careful of. There's still people that think they're doing good, and they may be, but that maybe their definition of what's okay about the levels of honesty in this situation, because it's desperate, it's chaotic, it's what maybe their rules of managing that relationships are going to be different than mine.
Yep.
Right.
So I'm not going to judge them, but I need to make sure we match.
Yeah.
And that is a talent that I think I've got, and one of the things that there's been a couple of times I think it's
I think that
Yeah.
what testifies to that is, actually, I think to both of you guys having that is you guys clicking, because
I couldn't do it as good without Otto.
But
Yeah.
no,
No.
but also the fact that you know what you're looking for in a person
Yeah.
is what makes you find suitable people to work with, and
I think
Yeah.
we stumbled on that with each other, and we
Yeah.
just kind of realized it little piece by little piece until it had a clear picture.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even that helps me know what to
Yeah,
look for better.
it was a
Ukraine.
process that we grow.
Yeah, we didn't just start like just click. There was some little
No.
pieces, but compared to how we operate now and what we do
Yeah.
now, like what we accomplish together now, I'd
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
and independently, he's helped me independently. I mean, it's just I can't say enough good things, but and it may sound like we're gonna start a fund together or something. I don't know, but no, it's not. There's no other motivation other than giving people information that I hope they copy amongst whatever they can do.
yeah.
I mean, yes, we need more stuff. Of course, we need funding like everybody else. But that's if I had one thing that I hope people see, either from us or just understand from context of listening, it would literally be if you feel motivated by watching the bad news or by seeing other people doing good things. And if anybody thinks they can't do something, just like our original conversation, you have the passion, you have the feeling you want to, but you don't know. Lending somebody that's already doing it, that knows how to do it, an hour, a couple hours, 6 hours, whatever you can do, trust them to help you know how you can help.
Well, that's a
or
kind
help
of a
you figure out how you can help.
nice bridge to what we wanted to ask next, actually. Since it's a good to paint a picture for our viewers.
I don't know on time, but I think I cut Otto off on the logistics as well because I kind of jumped in the middle, and I apologize.
I think we're good. We also
Okay.
have some.
Did we paint a clear picture? I
I
didn't
think-
want to.
I think
we did.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
and
for
I
the-
don't
Sorry.
want to talk too much about how the
Yeah, I have a tough time
fine.
with that too. Okay.
But more, let's say, to paint you a picture for the people at home. What can volunteering look like? Because you started talking about this just now. What can it look like? What jobs can it entail? Let me rephrase. How can you find what suits you? Like,
So if I'm a person at home and I am watching the news and I feel this passion, or I know this, I just, for whatever reason, something touches me and I want to help, but I don't know what to do or who to contact or how to do it. If I'm that person, is that the question?
well, basically.
Or maybe more concrete, like the people viewing us today. So
Yeah, I
like what
think-
sort of making some
I
concrete
think
examples, maybe.
I think it's very simple.
Yeah.
How do
Start-
you find your strength? Maybe that's the.
First,
Because we don't have to all have to be a Christopher. We don't have to all have
Oh,
to
no.
be an Otto. We don't have to
No.
all have to be like us. There's I guess because what we're talking about is a chain here, a chain of supplies and
Yeah.
a chain of people. How to find your spot
In
and
the chain.
what suits you.
yeah, you just have
If you
to
have this
try.
feeling inside of you,
Yeah, but you just don't make it too big. It's quite simple. You want to help? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. You can do collecting stuff, just by your neighbors. Ask them about the cans with food. Start collecting food. If you're in the healthcare, you ask your manager, "Hey, do we have stuff that we are throwing away?" And from there you find a way to bring it to us or to another group. And that's simple. Donate some money. If it's €10 for the fuel, it's 10. But if we have 100 people, we have more. If we have 1,000 people, we have more.
It matters.
And
Yeah.
that is the difference that you can make as a one person. And you can start. And we saw in the beginning there were a lot of volunteers. Now it's going down because it's taking too long. But there are still a lot of companies who wants to help and don't know where to find.
And do you have any
place.
specific roles of volunteers you are missing, or it's generally all sort of volunteers, like drivers or like people picking stuff, or like people?
It does change.
Yeah.
So when
Okay.
viewers watch this, it may
Yeah.
be different than our answer.
Okay.
That's one
Yeah.
reason my advice would be to contact somebody like Otto if
Okay.
you feel that way at all. It doesn't. I
Yeah.
mean, it could be Otto. It could be somebody else. That's
it can
Because-
be us.
it has to be a mentor. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the war is dynamic, and
Our world changes constantly.
and that's
Our priorities change constantly.
yeah. Sometimes I got a question from, "Hey, can you arrange this or that?" And it's not on my list with normal stuff. So
I
I
do
have
that
to
all the
find.
time.
So I have to find it, and I have some people who love to scroll the internet and searching for things. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. If I have
With
some
the
people,
tents,
yeah,
I could right now. I need to get two. I don't know the cheapest place to buy these tents, and it's coming out of my debt because we don't
Yeah.
have enough donors. And I know the men that are doing the job that is extremely dangerous that need it.
yeah. And did you know? I saw the tent.
Mhm.
I sent the picture to my nephew.
Mhm.
I said, "Where can I find these tents?"
Awesome.
In
Yeah.
5 minutes, he tuk, 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 tuk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuff
Because
like that.
he is a fisherman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Amazing, awesome, good.
And-
Yeah, because I have lists of these type of things. And so I tell Otto, I say, hey, can you get this? Or maybe somebody else if they're a subject matter expert or something. But
And-
we're constantly doing this.
And that's
on the side.
Yeah, and that's
nothing to do with our main.
That's also the most important thing, to know people,
Yeah.
know what their strength is, and see them as they are. Not everybody can do what I do. I don't ask that from them. If they want to help, they're welcome. But you cannot ask to do the same thing as I do.
Yeah.
I run like a crazy guy. That's how they say it. But I'm just walking, and I enjoy the ride because I'm learning and I'm connecting with more people every day, and the network is still growing, and I now have a good network. And if I'm looking for something, I gonna call them. I say, hey, I'm searching for this. Do you know a spot? And then they go, poof, 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 poof.
Yeah.
And then I have my answer. So help searching for stuff, for companies with stuff that they have over. It's important. And that's just simple. Keep it simple. Don't make it too
Yes.
hard.
People they get their head full of a lot of fears or things, that little ways to discourage themselves, like kind of in an I'm not good enough, or I don't know what I'm doing way.
It's too big for me.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this. I don't know who to call. I don't know how to start. I don't know when I would do it. I don't know all these things. There's a bunch of complications that maybe not in the moment they think about helping, but if they think about actually how to help, these things creep in.
Yeah.
None of that stuff matters, because all of those they're fairly easy to work around, because it doesn't matter how much time. If whatever you do works even for 10 minutes and you feel motivated by it, like you feel something from it, then you're going to keep doing it or look for a way to keep doing it. And if you don't feel that way, it's not a natural fit. So it answers itself.
Yeah, so you say, just do it, just start,
Well,
and from there.
My answer, I think it's the same result as Otto. I come at it a little different angle, but using myself as an example, I knew my skills. So maybe I had a nudge up even on that than some people. Because I'd been tested with my jobs and things in my training. I knew what I was capable of, not the full amount, but at least a minimal amount. And then hopefully I could get more, fit good into what was needed. But I didn't know any of that coming over here. Nobody knew what the war was going to be like. Nobody knew how long it was going to take. I could have been on that plane ride and one side would have capitulated. I had no idea. Or given up, not just given up, but won outright or whatever. Could have landed and not been able to work with KidSave or whatever. The partner that I was going to partner with didn't show up, whatever. But what I did is I reached out to somebody that I knew was already doing it, because that was the way to be efficient with my time and stay the best way out of danger, and maybe even be trained to do something that was already needed. I didn't need to figure all that stuff out. There was already somebody that knew. I just had to find them. That was my first job.
Lean on the person.
Yeah, and they can tell me what they need. And so the thing I had to tell myself is, at first, I'm not going to judge what anybody tells me they need. If it's something that can help life-saving or getting the kids out, that's all I care about. And I really got that tested, because I did get, it wasn't dopamine or adrenaline. I didn't feel it that way. I'm not built that way, really. But first going over and bringing out some and helping, I was a good fit for that, both with the teams I was working with and with my skills and with my personal motivation. I know I could have kept doing that job, and I think better than the vast majority of men that were doing it, because I had training and most of them didn't. And I could do medical, etc. Most of them can't. However, even given, my one place in those teams was not as important as doing a boring, dirty, long hours, miserable in heat and humidity, miserable when it's freezing and driving sleet, job that the vast majority of the time I was doing ended up doing by myself. And other people too. I wasn't alone. Other people, many other drivers, so not like I was special in that. It's just, wasn't where I thought I would end up. Wasn't doing what I thought would be using. I wasn't utilizing any of my skill sets that I found were valuable. What I was doing was exactly what was needed at a funnel point where there literally wasn't other humans to do it. And that enabled 65 drivers, 50 volunteers that were supporting the drivers, blah, 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 blah. All the, and whatever refugees and things that we're getting, like physically getting the supply or the body or whatever. So my advice would be that for people that feel anything, any thought of I want to help, find somebody that's successful already helping, whether it's us or somebody else. Find somebody
Your
that is
own
successfully
neighborhood,
helping.
because
Yeah.
there are
Maybe.
many groups in the Netherlands.
Telephones exist
all
too, so.
around Netherlands, there are so many groups helping. So
Yeah.
everywhere somebody is living, there is
Sure.
always a group or a church
Sure.
that is doing things.
Also, the funny thing is, I can attest to what you guys are actually telling from a situation from a few days ago. First, I got to say, I don't consider myself a leader yet. I do consider myself a person who wants to inspire others and who wants to share a message. Hence, this channel, this medium,
Yeah.
and this format. But still, I can see the effects of what you both are telling me sometimes in friends and people around me, because I'm this guy. I will take any stupid opportunity to talk about Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know, I generally stopped giving a shit, and because I know how important it is to the people there,
Yeah.
to us here,
Yeah.
more than a lot of people us realize. So it can be really inconspicuous, or it can be me just bluntly talking about an experience I really liked and stuff. So we had birthday party of my girlfriend a few days ago, and last guy leaving, he works in a diary factory, and he was like, you in Ukraine and stuff, and if you're going there again, I would go with you. And it's like, okay, cool. That's nice. But if you want to do something, I mean, going there is kind of a big step. I'm not saying
Yeah,
it can't,
yeah.
but this
Yeah.
guy, he also doesn't have a driver's license, so it's really difficult to be. So,
Yeah.
but I
You'd
said
have
like,
to go to a location or figure
yeah,
something
exactly.
out,
So it's
a
difficult
fit.
for what
Yeah.
I have been doing so far. It's difficult to just take someone who doesn't have
Yeah.
a driver's license, who
Yeah.
can't be
Who
like
can't
your
trade
buddy
off or back
driver.
up.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's difficult. But I said to him, but where you work now? I worked with him for a short while at a food depot. Basically, pallets of food came in and had to be shipped
Yeah.
and distributed. A distribution center,
Uh-huh.
so to call it. So I knew he often brought me stuff that was spoiled or leftover or blah blah blah. And now he's working at a dairy factory. So I was like, well, don't you at your work have some stuff they don't use anymore or they throw away? Basically, what you were saying.
Yeah, supply.
And he's like, yeah, well, the condensed milk, and
There you go.
I'm telling him like, hey, this stuff you're mentioning right now, I've seen that on the pallets of the
Yeah.
people I work with a lot. I know they love it in Ukraine. So,
Yeah, that's true.
and
Yeah.
well, basically in a nutshell, it just the same as way as I have stepped up a ladder, stepped
Yeah.
up a chain from showing up to
Yeah.
your warehouse, showing
Yeah.
up to your place, and just bringing some stuff.
Yeah, good
Yes.
example.
Another
Yeah.
guy can also
Yeah.
show up bringing some stuff, and at some point do drive to Ukraine to see
Yeah.
it for itself and inspire other
Yeah.
people. It's the same infectiousness in being in Ukraine and getting energy from the people and the people getting energy from you. We can do back home.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
there's
I'm saying,
refugee
man.
centers here. There's refugee centers here. You can go and ask or call and ask, what do they need? When do they need it? It could be supplies, it could be volunteers or whatever. If they say, we need more coffee, for all because we lost a distributor, we can't afford it, or we need whatever, ask them if it helps to call coffee places and see if you can get them donated. Or if you could do fundraising and go buy coffee. Like, just as an example, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Whatever it is. The point is just not to stop trying if you find something that isn't a fit, to look somewhere else that is a fit, because fits are out there all over
Something
the
that
place.
you like, that gives you a warm feeling
Right.
inside.
And you
right?
usually learn about yourself what you can do if you don't already know. That's the thing that you get out of it, amongst all the other things, is a fit is out there for most everybody. I would say that, and once you find a mentor or somebody, they can tell you like what things are useful to start. Even with a telephone, you can cold call and try and get donations. If I mean, and I don't just mean money, I mean supply, like you're saying, an efficient way to do that, because it doesn't take, trying it and failing doesn't have any harm. It doesn't lose anything. It's still trying to help. And if you get anything, you've now helped.
And
Period.
so many
Yeah.
stuff is being thrown away in our
Right.
society.
Yeah.
and stuff.
And supply gathering, while there are people that are talented, etc., that's where it starts. Now, showing up and just bringing a bunch of baby strollers and dropping them off, or whatever extra items you have, that really actually is not helpful. It has to go where it needs to go. So Otto can't take like a garbage dump or a used store for anything. You can't just take any and every item, because I will tell you, Ukraine has about a bazillion baby strollers. Why did they have them? Why did anybody donate baby strollers? Because in the beginning, they saw it on the videos everywhere. Ukrainians were hanging the baby strollers on fences all around these bombed out cities that Russia had just attacked or mowed through. It's not because they needed more baby strollers that weren't damaged. It's because they were trying to represent how many of their children had been killed in that village.
It's like
They don't need more to remind them of it. They already have too many.
It's like a misinterpreted message.
Exactly. So my point is not that those people that donated them were doing something bad. They absolutely weren't. Oh, I'm sorry. They were doing the very right thing. That's needed. But without some mentorship or leadership or something to kind of, just a contact to verify what you're trying to do.
So that's your message. Just
You don't
find
want to waste your
someone-
effort.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Who
really
can
need
help
to
you.
to direct your effort, and you're not able to really do that usually without some direction. And while you're not going to probably find a boss or somebody to give you all the answers, because it needs kind of felt out. It takes baby steps. The first step is just contact somebody that knows, and try to do normal. This is not normal life. This is war.
Yeah.
This is war. That's one thing. We live in normal life. We go to work. We hug our friends. We do all this. But in the world that we're talking about, this is absolutely war, and you don't want it to come home. You don't want it to come anywhere near you. You want it to stop. And the way to be the most efficient is to take, use the judgment of the people that have been involved for a long time. They'll tell you. And it may be uncomfortable. Their answer may be uncomfortable, like making phone calls or things that we wouldn't normally do. Yeah. But that's why it's helpful, is because we don't normally do these things in our daily lives. Now's the time to do those things even a little.
And I think maybe also what I hear in your stories, and in yours also, and I can also relate to that, is that it's a learning curve massively, because
for everybody.
You discover things from yourself you wouldn't know
Yeah.
you liked or what you wouldn't like.
Yeah.
One thing that I always say to myself, expect the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So be prepared for all options,
Yeah.
because otherwise you get a smack in the face and you think, oh my God,
Be
what's
open-minded.
happening?
Yeah. To just kind of accept first, and then think about it. Don't just come with an argument or that doesn't work or whatever. Even in your own mind.
Don't
Feel
start
about it.
Yeah,
for
you
a
gotta
little bit.
defending
really think.
yourself, because it's a war, and we are also learning every day again. So
Yeah. If I look
listen,
back,
yeah.
sorry.
So listen to people first, and then react after thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's people also will experience that by practice, by getting involved in that, and then you'll don't have time to argue or you just have to act.
I think it's really funny sometimes. It's a little ironic, because I've seen volunteers show up that act, from my perspective, very selfishly, very, very, it's all about them, and they want everybody to kind of help them with everything and whatever, and they're a little bit rude and whatever. I've seen this a few times, and it hits me as very ironic, because what they're missing is just some really good advice, and then them listening, because they can absolutely get all that fulfillment or even attention or whatever they're after, and have a really awesome effect by actually being useful and helpful and whatever. It comes naturally.
I guess it's not wrong craving that.
You feel
in
it
a way.
naturally.
Yeah.
Selfishly, you can really feel fulfilled by doing this stuff. And it's weird, because it doesn't really take people thanking you. You feel it. You just start to really feel
I
it.
just remember one guy
that a lot.
we met in Poland at the border. He actually said this. It is kind of what I do this for, sort of like selfishness.
Yeah.
And we were like,
I love people that are that honest.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
because
Really
I was
honest.
relating to what you were saying.
It's true. I feel a lot
and
of
you don't
selfish
you
things from
don't
this.
have to feel ashamed about that, because it's like if you're it's
Not
like,
at all. I was going to say something about what you were saying, and it's just a little point that I thought was important, but maybe not, because I don't remember. I don't remember. I'm glad I didn't interrupt.
Yeah.
I'd rather listen to you.
I have one more question for you. For at least I have one. I have a zillion questions more, but one for now. Like, if you look towards the future for your cooperation, do you have any sort of goals or dreams you want to achieve, and maybe like
In the context of the war?
no, yeah, or in like your next steps in this. And the other question is, maybe you can intertwine it. Like, do you see when this whole thing is over, this war, and like, do you see anything coming out of this? Like, also bringing something like you wouldn't have expected.
When the war is over, I don't know exactly when that's going to be happening.
Of course.
But I think I have a lot of friends in Ukraine now. And
You haven't even been there yet.
I even been there yet.
He's been on the phone with a few of them.
Yeah.
So would you see yourself going over there?
Yeah.
Like,
If I can go and the war is over, I will go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, because
When?
I want to see the people. I want to see where they live.
Okay.
I want to meet them. I want to hug them, because
They
I
need
also,
that too.
Yeah, because
There's
I
been
also
requests
had
to meet up
a lot of times that they lost family and that I couldn't give them a hug, and they needed it, so I was listening on the phone. I also had sometimes pray with somebody over the phone because they were Christian. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
And we were just praying for each other. Yeah. Why not?
Of course.
Yeah. So, and what I believe is, and I speak it out loud because I believe in the power of words. I want to be the biggest supplier of medical stuff for Ukraine because I know they need it.
I want that for you too.
Yeah, and I want it
Very much
because
so.
we have a good network and it's still growing. So I step in faith in that.
Yeah,
I
they
hope
need
that-
it.
Yeah.
I
So
hope this-
that's your mission
Yeah.
as far as that.
Yeah, and we are now. We worked under the church, and now we are gonna make the move to our own organization. So we're busy with that also, so we can get the donations ourselves, and because in the last 2 years there was a lot of money, sponsor money going back and forward. So we want to build on a solid system so we can provide for the next 2 years or 3 years, and maybe with the rebuilding also start to help.
What
because
we do works really well so far. We
Yeah.
need to scale it. Yeah.
so we have the connections.
And your
we have
focus is the medical supplies for now.
the medical supplies.
But it's also smart because
There's a couple other side projects we can't
Yeah.
talk about. They're equally, I would say, as important.
Yeah.
But we can't give hardly any level of details. We have this challenge a lot. I will, like, if we had a major donor out of the blue, I will put them on the phone with the direct recipients and people that have decision-making capability, et cetera, if that's what's needed to verify
Yeah.
what we're doing, or if that's what they need to feel good about what they're doing, whatever. I know the right people. I have the right access. I have their trust because of how much, doesn't matter why. I have their trust. So if my point is just, if it needs me to say thank you or give detail personally, whatever, I have to be efficient with my time. So the more somebody else, if it's like a funding commitment or a material commitment from a hospital admin or a large donor or anything like this, Otto will spend the time. I will spend the time. I'm sure other organizations are the same. But the fastest way to do that is to verify it is they don't have to trust me. I'll take a picture of the ID card of the person that literally is in charge of it there. I'll put them on a video call and we'll make it happen or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this is how to quickly do it. But I can't solicit and put pictures on Facebook or on our civilianshield.org or when we had the webpage for the Netherlands one, et cetera. We can't advertise these things because it's too sensitive and too dangerous for the individuals involved, maybe for Ukraine in general. So I can vet it. I can provide all the transparency, but I can't make it public. That makes it hard to get support of any kind, whether material
It's
or money.
complex. Yeah.
So in Ukraine, their civilian infrastructure has this problem also. They are risking too much to try and get the help they are by giving out the names and the people and showing how it works of what they're doing, and it's still not enough. So it's a big challenge. Help is really needed, and even small amounts, are. to answer your question, were you done with your answer?
Yeah. I already gave my answer.
Yeah, I liked it. And it's more complete than mine, really. Mine is pretty short. The truth is, I have plans to scale. And I mean, we're both planners. Starting a charity in the U.S. for this, and with the right people and legal team involved, because you have to, and the right board of directors and all this stuff. It's not short, it's not easy, and it's not cheap. I'm in a fair amount of personal debt to be here 2 years as an unpaid volunteer. Mm-hmm. But what it lets me do is build trust, because nobody, people could even hire me. I haven't allowed that yet. I've said no multiple times because I want to stay unbiased, and I want decision-making capability with my time, because I know I'm most efficient. Yeah. Yes, I'm absolutely independent. Well, now I am the executive director of civilianshield.org, but it's a charity I started. I don't have control over the financial accounts. I have a full board of directors who are my boss. So it's got transparency. We have control spread out and decentralized. If what I'm doing and how I'm doing it is not right, they can find another executive director. But I will not be wrong, at least not accept it and change immediately. Right. I'm not saying I can't make mistakes, but I learn and I'll change. If I look back, that's what I was going to say. If I look backwards a month and I realize I haven't learned anything, I will stop and figure out what the hell's the matter with me, because I'm putting myself and other people in danger. You have to be learning all the time for this. Right. And it's awesome. I love learning. I love puzzles. Anyway, so growing, finding fundraising for that charity, independent of this stuff.
In the Netherlands and in America.
Yes, both. Absolutely. Yeah. Otto definitely is the hub and central point here.
Well, I guess we also come in here.
Yes.
Because we were kind of sliding into the last couple of compound
questions. Let's come back to that then. I want to finish my answer before I lose my train of thought, if that's okay. Yeah. And that is just, we'll have the fundraising stuff later, but even without that, I was just trying to say that's the stuff I'm focused on, and that's the only thing I can really look at now is the efficiency, because it takes up all of my brain power. And as I'm driving around, I spend a lot of time alone, and I'm built for doing this job. I'm not built for the lack of interpersonal type of stuff and whatever. And, I had a happy, fulfilling life that I left every day. And that part isn't always easy to deal with, but I would say that to remain focused and professional and do my job and do a good job, I can't let myself think of what's after the war, because every time I try it, that's when I'll process my the friends I've lost, the Ukrainians that are gone, that are absolutely heroes. That I worked with and have a lot of interpersonal. So, I don't mind, crying or sharing or whatever, as long as I can talk. It's more about, I honor them by remembering them, trying to, change things and make it better for the ones that are still around and save more. But there's no, the more I try and think of life after this or whatever, it's just a distraction for me. I can't. There's too much important stuff that I have to have to be able to prioritize, to be able to stay open-minded, and I have to have enough. The only change I've had here physically that, from the doctor's checks, because I do keep up on all this stuff. I'm healthy as an ox, except for I have really high blood pressure. My hair went white within the first, 6 months that I was here. I had almost all dark hair, and now it's all shock. This is all since I've been here, and it's almost all fallen out. It's going, I'll be, Otto and I'll be twins by the time this is over.
You'll be joining the club.
I already said to him, do you want my haircut? I can do it.
Yeah, we're going to end up there. I guarantee it by the time this is over. But, I hope not. I hope this ends tomorrow, for Christ's sake. But anyway, I just can't process. I can't put myself in that headspace and think about friends and family and dreams and hopes and whatever. It adds too much more stress. And even while I can do my job, I can't focus on both. I can't if I sat for a couple of days and was thinking about that stuff and planning for trying to start a business, maybe even in Ukraine a little bit, and live part-time both places with all my connections and friends. They're lifelong. This is a war. You have such tight bonds. They're awesome people. But I can't put myself in that headspace. I can't distract myself, because if I think that way a couple of days, I've had this happen.
It's not the right time.
It's
it's not the right time for you now to process that.
Yeah, for my job, for what I do, I cannot mix it.
You need to focus on what you're doing now. Keep on working on it.
It's debilitating for you.
When I'm outside. When I'm in Ukraine, it's automatically focused. It's like right when I cross the border, it's like a different mindset sits in. And it's happy. I love people.
You're sort of in the zone or something like that.
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, I have a lot of very interpersonal relationships where they'll stay the night here, stay the night there with families. And they're my friends and I love them. And it's hugs and we'll have nice meals and whatever. But in the back of my mind, there's always this, I know I'm there to do a job, and it's not really 100%, like, I'm friends and I love them, and it's great relationships, but I think we might as well be in foxholes, kind of. There's always this back of the mind that any second it could be missiles, or I get a phone call, and I can't count how many times that's been interrupted. I've been places where I'm literally walking up to the door and I'm about to have a meal, and I get a phone call, and it's nope, jump back in the van and head right back over and do another 9-hour border crossing because it's jammed up, because we need you to bring in this now. You can't go ahead and go and do that stuff. You'll have to do that some other time. You know, this is just the way it is. And so in the back of my mind, there's always these layers of plans, and what did I miss, and is there a better way to see this person first or do this?
So you're constantly on, like they're saying. Like,
I think we both are. Yeah. We're just in different environments.
Yeah.
I think we both are, because I see those. I see
we're
Otto that way
both.
too.
I'm
he just has a
also
different way of
not busy
processing
with the holidays. The wife and the kids are doing it. I sometimes give my
they
opinion.
suffer a bit, yeah.
I can turn it off because there are no bombs here, and that's the difference.
The constant danger is not actually here.
I know I'm safe here, and I want to keep it that way. And
that's the difference.
Why?
Yeah. But it's inside in the parts where it is dangerous and stuff is a lot easier. You know, that part, I am built for that part. That part, my heart rate doesn't even go up. I don't get adrenaline. It's just, because it's statistics. I'm more likely to get hit by lightning than a shell, unless I'm doing certain things in certain places. Yeah. And then, it's more likely, but no less likely for any of these other people, and they've been here for a lot longer than me. Like, it's all the perspective you use, and just being aware of the realities. For the people in the lines and trenches, I will tell you, they have to give themselves up for dead. They have to completely push away. They have to accept they can die any second, period. They have no control over it. You basically have to not think if I'm afraid of this, I have to dive rather than shoot back or things like that. They have to already accept, look, I have a role to play. I'm like a cog in a machine. I have to do my training and my job. If I die, I die. If I don't, I don't. And I have no control over it. I have to do my job. I have to play my part.
That's war. Yeah.
If you can't do that and do all the little steps to double check and whatever, you can't go near line zero. You shouldn't go within 60 kilometers of it, let alone line zero, let alone past it. So that's how my mind is just incrementally doing that as I get closer, because I know where normal life kind of is, where it's just kind of statistically nobody in Lviv's going to get, the biggest risk is a traffic accident, not a missile. Unless they work in a government building, or unless they did this, you just have to understand the realities. And it takes time to build that. And so that's how my brain is. That's the world I live in. It has less and less to do with this world. And while I can be amongst it, it's fine. It's great. As a matter of fact, I really need it, and I appreciate everything Otto and his family and all so many people have done. It's about, anyway, I can't think of after.
Yeah.
No, I'd be a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to get close to it, and I'm not built like that. I wish I was.
But it's okay. You're not the first person to get emotional on this podcast.
I have no problem with that. I cry in front of my kids, my friends.
It's a good thing. I mean, all these people talking about,
it needs out.
I don't cry.
It's natural.
You're lying to yourself, man.
I've seen Ukrainian soldiers cry, and I dare somebody to tell them they're not the strongest guys. I love them. They're amazing.
I mean,
men and women. Not
shows
just
that you're in touch with your inner self, right? I mean,
it's real. Why am I going to hide how I'm feeling unless it's keeping me from doing something important? But I need that emotion out. If it wants to come out that way and it's not disrupted, okay. Anybody else that doesn't like it, sorry.
It's awesome, man.
Your problem, not mine.
Well, maybe that's also not science or anything, but like this intense thing, like war on brings everything to the surface. Of course, life and death, and also and that
it tastes great.
Makes you feel
it's
like
real life.
It's like the essence of life, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't mean the danger. The danger isn't it. It's the people and what you're doing and stuff. It's not. I see a lot of teenage kids or volunteers, men, that they're very much, they don't know that, and they want to go see the shooting. They want to be part of it, or they want to shoot at somebody, or they want to go where the bombing is. It's like moths to a flame. And I see what they're after. They're after that feeling life. They get a sense, I think subconsciously, that's how it works, like you're saying. Yeah. And what they don't know is it doesn't take being in those areas or zones. They don't need to go anywhere near it.
They think it because...
maybe and living on the edge is giving the kick.
Yeah.
And it isn't adrenaline. They can get adrenaline a million ways.
Yeah.
It isn't adrenaline that gives you that feeling of the reality of life. It isn't being shot at. That can be one of the moments that provide it, but you don't need to. So why the heck would you do it?
Yeah.
But I wish they knew that.
Yeah. But I also heard a story from one very experienced volunteer who was telling like it. In the beginning, came some words was like, "Well, the air sirens went off, and I was a bit scared." Until an episode where they are actually filming the rockets coming over. So it's like some people also are pushing their boundaries.
Oh, you mean
but
previous from ours?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but
Also.
what also happened is people get harder
Yeah.
during the war.
You get
They
used
see
to all
more,
stuff.
they get
Yeah.
used to it. They see it as the new normal.
Yeah.
And
It is.
yeah,
But
but
you, of course, from your experience from Iraq
Yeah.
and stuff, you know these psychological.
yeah, I know
patterns
because
of,
I had been
You've seen it,
15
yeah.
years of PTSD.
Yeah.
So
That's what we had in common. Remember? Yeah, we,
Oh,
we
yeah.
shared a sauna, and we both had a fair amount of PTSD.
yeah.
Because I had a lot from my job too.
But you
Yeah.
both got over it, I guess.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I
We
get
learned
over
how
it.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
I get
over it.
I'm over it. I'm done
still-
with it.
Yeah, I still.
I don't grab it up anymore.
I've started. I'll still get like nightmares now and then stuff. It's a lot less. I've learned how to process it, and it doesn't. The when it messes with my life, the only thing I don't like, everything else, the reactions I have or whatever, which aren't debilitating or anything like that, they're just annoying at this point. The only one that I don't particularly care for is nightmares, and actually I hadn't had any until about 2 weeks ago. I had some, but.
So
yeah, I
maybe
think
maybe a
that's-
silly question, but does your work in Ukraine help you keep those nightmares away, or is it?
The work in Ukraine, I think, is what like drastically lessened my PTSD effect. I was really worried about them cropping up or being magnified by being there. I mean, I was going to do the job anyway, but it absolutely had the opposite effect. 100% opposite.
Do you have an explanation for that from your experience?
Purpose?
I don't know. I have a lot of guesses,
no.
but I don't know. I think everybody's different.
Yeah,
And there's so much
and
subconscious-
You have in the PTSD also a lot of different levels of how hard it is. You can have a small trauma, bigger, or you can get shot, or you can lose your bodies, and that's a whole different kind of level.
And then you have the
I do
personality.
Yeah.
I do have to interrupt a little bit because we have like half an hour before I have to make a call to extend the moment until the alarm flips on.
I interrupted you earlier about
Oh, no, that's problem.
Yeah,
What
about
was I
the
saying again?
fundraising stuff.
Right,
Websites
because
and those
well,
things.
that's one of the reasons that you guys are here also because you've been the people I've been working most with, and one of the reasons we've been setting up this initiative.
That's
It's
such a
true.
nice compliment. Every time you told me you learned Ukrainian, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I feel so good. You
Yeah.
told me about the medical training and send me the pictures, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, that's
yeah.
great. And then,
I-
all these things.
It's it's well,
You're making yourself stronger, better, more knowledgeable, more worldly. All these things. It's great to see just from the outside. You know?
yeah, and I love it, but it's like I said, it's also thanks to meeting the right people and getting the right opportunities and being able to do these things and.
Thank you,
that's it.
Ukraine.
Yeah, also, yeah.
Sorry for what you're going through,
Sorry
but
for
thank
what
you.
you-
Yeah.
But in any way,
I mean, I know it's a weird perspective.
maybe a nice thing to mention also is what we did yesterday with your event. Something that might be you can tell about it after I finish the sentence. But what's really maybe important also for people who are watching to do is see if you can try to find that connection with Ukrainian people. It's also one of the small things that you can do. I mean, there's language lessons also being done. There's so much being done, and you organized an event that was yesterday. That was loads of Ukraine in Groningen with Ukrainian food. You play in a band with Ukrainians.
Yeah, we
And,
both are
really?
musicians.
I know that the language is
Nice.
quite a barrier here and there, and not everyone is going to learn Ukrainian because, well, it's kind of a threshold.
Tell me about it.
There is a threshold. It takes some
Yeah.
commitment to
So
get
hard for my
to a
brain.
point where you're like, oh, now
I don't have
But
the time for
That's
that.
one place where I'm an idiot. My brain does not want to learn any other
He's
language.
amazing. though.
Yeah,
It's so hard.
But
know.
it's not hard to find the connection with people. So
No.
like with your event, maybe it's also like this message is an invite to events like yours, like saying, find this connection, dare to
Yeah.
take this step to step up to
Start
people.
moving.
Yeah.
And only thing we have to say is I'm with you. I can even say it.
Absolutely.
Say it for you in Ukrainian. Я з вами.
Nice.
Say я з вами, and they will know.
That's Vami. That's awesome.
You know, that's the only
Yeah.
thing you sometimes have to say. And find the people, have a talk. You know, find what makes them tick, and it's a small thing, but it's not even the volunteering part, but just being open to people and
like the culture. Ukrainian
Yeah.
culture is awesome. There's so many cool pieces. I mean, like any country, any people, there's goods, there's challenges, right? You know, none of us are perfect.
No, none of
but I would say that I love so many things about Ukrainian
they're
culture.
so open and they're so connected with their country and the nature
And nature,
And creative.
and loyalty, and
definitely.
not just family and whatever, but the strong relationships, lifelong relationships, and really being empathetic in their communities and networks. There's so many things.
Do you like to add something about your event you wanted to say? Something to tell the guys here about what we did and
I'm curious.
Yes, yes, I can. Something comes to mind also. What I did, I'm a musician. That's one of the reasons why we met.
yeah.
And I've been playing with a Ukrainian woman from the beginning of the war, because since the war started, I've decided that everything I do as a musician has to do with Ukraine. I make
Nice.
Ukrainian music and stuff.
So you play Ukrainian music with
Yes,
the band?
yeah. And now,
Awesome.
and since October, I
I
met.
like Ukrainian music.
Yeah,
a lot of kinds.
I met some guys from Lutsk, and I'm playing with them, and a singer from Kryvyi and a bass player from Berdyansk near Mariupol. So they're from different parts. So we have now a real band, and we're playing Ukrainian pop and rock song. And yesterday we had an event somewhere in Groningen. We had just some music. We had Ukraine food. That's an initiative in Groningen where refugees,
restaurant, right?
restaurant initiative from Groningen, where refugees came here and they started a restaurant, and now they have 2 venues over there. So they provided the food, we the music, and the guy I know from earlier has a very, very great venue, and he had this venue for free for us. So it was amazing, like what happened there, like people also coming there and experiencing like what it's like.
Yeah.
This music and this hospitality and this warmth and this strength of these Ukrainians. That's really inspiring.
Yeah.
So one thing I would like to add, like adding what you're saying, like I've been working as a musician for many times, working with many singers also, and I play guitar, rock guitar, so it's really loud mostly. And most singers always say, "Oh, put it down, I can't hear myself." But I'm now working with one singer. She's from a classical music style, so she has no experience with loud music.
New to her, yeah.
And also a little girl singing there, also from like
That was awesome.
cabaret. So it's really small, and so like
Really
also an experience.
adorable.
And we were playing really loud, and there were people saying like, "Put it up." They were like standing there and like giving their life, and also saying that, "Can the guitar go up louder?"
Really?
Like that's like the attitude I'm
You're
talking
like,
about.
we're my people. Yeah.
But they're
I love these little connections that just feel good out of the blue. Just
they're really
you don't
amazing.
expect it. It's just
And like in the beginning, it was like sort of like a bit voorzichtig. What's his name? Careful. But now they're really getting to know each other. It's
There's
like
a wall up a bit, and you have to break that wall down. a
and
bit.
some of it is Western versus kind of their culture, where I've heard a lot about the feedback kind of people will go in and it just people are like really mean. They all look angry or just they hate you or something like, or they don't smile or whatever. Which and I explain to them, no. Like I mean, showing the bit teeth or an unwarranted smile or something can sometimes be a little bit of a show of weakness or whatever from like leftover USSR culture or certain area cultures or something. But people aren't angry at all. It's just a different culture, and they respond very warmly. There's just sometimes a little more careful, and you'll get to know them a little bit, and then my gosh, the warmest people on the planet. Like,
I can tell
wonderful.
you, it's also a language thing.
Yeah.
Because they can say things really shortly. Like they
Very
don't.
direct
They,
and-
very direct in
like
in 1 or 2 words where we would use 3 to 5 words, right? They don't use articles, so it's really
like
Up-
between me and you.
it's really just straight up telling it like it is. So also when you speak with them and they speak in English, it can sound like
Very hard.
And
exactly.
also last
Judgy.
time in Lviv, I had the first time a Ukrainian woman screaming to me.
Oh yeah. Out
she
of
looked
anger,
like
surprise.
very
She looked pretty mad at me, but it ended all right. Yeah. I had to back up where we slept in the center of Lviv. You have to go up really steep near a hill and a really tight, narrow, how to say,
all icy and snowy
street, and it was icy and snowy. So I'm in the big bus going up there, and I have to at some point back up to the place
And
where
some of
we're
those are
sleep-
really narrow with the cars on each side.
It's
Yeah,
terrible.
don't tell me about it.
But
Yeah.
a friend of us went a couple in the BMW, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling. They wanted to get back or something, and I was in the way. I don't know, but I'm struggling, to get that car on top of there
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
snow, plowing,
But still controlled, so you don't just
Yeah. And
hit
this
somebody.
woman comes up and she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" At some, I didn't even catch all she was saying. I catch just small parts of it. And the end, it
can
was
see
good.
it for you. Yeah.
I would like to add one little teeny tiny thing too that I don't think people should go into just directly into Ukraine, like volunteers, whatever, without doing a little research or getting some advice about the culture.
Oh, definitely.
And about the risks of travel in that country and in places and the cultural norms, just like you would any country you go to.
Definitely.
Because there are a lot of just societal differences that, like I'll give one example just as the only example. I've been many places, rather city, towns, whatever, that, different countries and areas have different kind of averages of how this can work. But I would say, I used to hear jokes growing up that you go to an Irish bar, there's going to be at least 1 to 5 fights or that kind of thing. Like they just settle stuff with fists all the time, that kind of thing, just as jokes and whatever. But in Ukraine, I would say that, sometimes things are handled very fast and very aggressively to get sorted out in that kind of a way where it's not like, I get a fight in Alaska and a knife might pop out or something like that really easy. It's a very different kind of thing. And in Ukraine, boy, it's kind of like fists real quick and whatever, but it's not like probably going to go past that or whatever. But you also have to know what you're getting wrapped up in. And if you're culturally go to their country and do something out of place, and it may be kind of a group that puts you in your place, and that's not something people are used to, and it may be very aggressively, or there may be some physicality to it. So
Okay.
it's not wise to just kind of go
Like,
there.
for example, when you would disrespect their culture.
Yeah, or something like that. Tensions are real high right now. And I
Yeah.
would not say that you're going to find this everywhere, but Ukrainians are sorting things out sometimes between themselves and getting their aggression out, or their stress or something like this. Like, I don't know how many I've seen. I've seen a lot of fistfights in there. And it's part of there's such a high stress, and it's war, and there's a lot of strong opinions, and there's a lot of just, stress. But I have yet to see one that somebody got like really messed up or something. It's just the way of dealing with
It's
the
still a certain
situation.
threshold.
Yeah.
Right? It's not.
But we're not used. Most people aren't used to that, or from that way of doing things, whatever. So you have to be aware of things like that. That's just an example, and it's not. That doesn't describe Ukraine or the majority of Ukraine. I'm saying
you
this is
just
the
have to
kind of
be
thing
aware
that
of
can
that.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have to get advice. You have to know these things before going. You can't just go stomping in there.
You need a
thinking
basic
it's-
level of knowledge.
Yeah, you're not
before
going to have
getting in.
people being like, oh, we're so glad you're here. We'll do anything for you. And everybody's like that. They have their own lives. They have their own issues.
I
And
guess
you're
it's the
there to
same,
help. They're not there to cater to you or whatever. People may do that, but you're there to help. Or maybe you don't have a place there, kind of. You have to know.
I think it's exactly the situation what I just described with the women, because
Yeah.
the thing is, to her at that point, maybe she didn't look at the plates or whatever. She didn't
Sure.
know.
She's giving you a social correction.
because I'm blocking the road and I'm being
Yeah.
a stupid foreigner that's
Yeah.
just being.
It's like, get your head out of your butt. Do the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
thing. What's going on
And
here?
at some point we're
Yeah.
talking, and she understands I'm decently speaking Ukrainian, but I'm not catching everything she says. And then the guy comes down and he's like, oh, it's okay. And he's just like, bartering between like, okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? And
I love those interactions.
it
to be
resulted
honest.
in that the woman, she was okay, well, I'll let you do your thing. And the guy at some point was actually coaching me
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
to get the car.
That's the result you're going to get almost
But
everywhere.
it's
They're
being
extremely
humble,
helpful.
being
Yes.
friendly, and
Yes, because that interaction could have gone way differently if you're like, hey,
If
quit
I-
yelling at me, blah, blah, blah.
if I would have been shouting back at
oh,
this
yeah,
woman,
you bitch, I'm going to whatever.
this woman would get
Oh, wow.
more angry, and then the guy would be like,
That's
"You're
the
not shouting
thing.
to my woman,
Yep,
right?"
and then instantly it's a different thing.
different interaction. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I mean. You
Yeah.
have to get a sense of that, to stay calm, to stay humble. That
Yeah.
will, look, I am literally alive because of that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because there's some real easy misunderstandings that can happen. My partner and I, when I very first got there, we got into kind of one of those things where in the beginning, everybody's real worried about maybe who's a spy or who's doing what and who you here to really support. And there's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of strong feelings and aggression and whatever. And not necessarily in a bad way, but then like if you're ever around somewhere where alcohol's involved or whatever, which it wasn't us doing that, but sometimes you're around it because there's still people that are tourists or doing this and that and whatever, anyway, or people just letting off steam. And fair to say, Polish and Ukrainian, whatever, they like a shot of vodka now and then. I'd say that's kind of the way you prove your friends now and then sometimes, is do you accept a shot with them or not and hang out a while. But it's kind of, you got to be aware of your surroundings. It's a war zone. Rules are different. Laws are different because it's a wartime in a war zone. There's not a lot of latitude for making big mistakes, even innocent ones. So it's good to be a little aware. And I don't want to scare anybody off from helping because, man, I've been traveling around also, and it's pretty easy to be safe.
The key understanding is use your brains.
Yeah.
Be humble.
Yeah.
Be smart.
Be humble, yeah.
Get your knowledge up before you do things and undertake things.
Yeah, because I don't want to see anything bad to anybody that's good intentioned,
I think
And
we...
just follow your heart, and also
Yeah.
with all the good advice you're
Yeah,
giving.
that's a good important part. Follow your
Okay.
heart. Yeah.
I think we also got to wrap up here. Are there some final things you want to say? Or last thing you want to say?
No, I think
Well, did you have a website you were going to mention or something? Because I thought I cut you off before you were going to say
No,
something.
I think I
like that,
already
or was it just kind of,
filled in on that. I think we were good.
I love what you're doing. I didn't know. That's awesome.
thank you very much, and thank you very
Yeah,
much
thank
for
you so
your
much.
inspiring and in-depth view of what you're doing and why you're doing the stuff. It's amazing.
Whatever I can do, man.
Yeah.
I take my goals by what I see or what they tell me they need.
And to our viewers, I want to say thanks for watching the video. First of all, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to our Patreon or YouTube membership if you want to make a difference for this channel. But keep an eye out on the future, or maybe there are also already some things online. We are going to help these guys with fundraisers. Stay up to date on what we're doing. You'll get more info soon on when the things come online, but there will definitely be opportunities to either help these guys financially with goods or whatever.
Thank you.
Or get in touch and get into the action yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you all for
And
watching.
you're welcome. So just contact us.
Support the channel.
Please.
And until the next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Козацькому роду